You are sitting on the living room floor. Captain Kangaroo is on the television, and Mr. Moose asks if eating Wonder Bread could make him grow as tall as a tree. The captain smiles and says it helps boys and girls grow big and strong. You do not question it. You are 6. Your mother is in the kitchen, pressing peanut butter and jelly between 2 soft slices from a bag of balloons, tucking the sandwich into your lunchbox. But here is something that might surprise you. Those vitamins were never Wonder's invention. They came from an FDA enrichment standard required in every enriched bread on the shelf. Wonder did not create the nutrition. Wonder created the impression that it was theirs. Pick up any bag of white bread, and you will see the same word on the label: Enriched. Most people read that as a bonus. Extra vitamins added goodness. The opposite happened first. When wheat passes through steel rollers at a mill, the bran and germ, where much of the fiber, B vitamins, and minerals are concentrated, are stripped away. What remains is endosperm. White, soft, perfect for baking, and nutritionally hollowed out. Enrichment is the rebuild. 5 nutrients added back: niacin, reduced iron, thiamin mononitrate, riboflavin, folic acid. Not an upgrade, a partial repair. And that repair follows an FDA standard of identity, 21 CFR 136.115. Every enriched loaf on the shelf meets the same standard. 1921, Indianapolis. A baking company called Taggart introduces a new white bread named after something reportedly seen at the International Balloon Race: hot air balloons rising into an open sky. Wonder. The package carries red, yellow, and blue balloons that would last a century. Continental Baking acquires the brand. Through the 40s and 50s, as America industrializes its food supply and the government pushes flour enrichment, Wonder wraps its advertising around the program. On Howdy Doody, Buffalo Bob Smith tells children Wonder Bread builds strong bodies 8 ways. By the 60s, the number climbs to 12. Nobody asks what the 12 ways are. The number grows. The trust grows with it. The slogan promised nutrition, but the bread itself was engineering. Here is the thing nobody tells you. Wonder Bread is not made the way bread has been made for thousands of years, and every step serves one of 3 goals: whiteness, softness, or shelf stability. Hard red winter wheat arrives at the mill. Steel rollers crack each kernel and separate the bran and germ from the endosperm, white starch, and protein, ground fine enough to produce the softest possible crumb. Before the flour ships, the enrichment nutrients are blended in: niacin, iron, thiamin, riboflavin, folic acid. The word on the bag starts here. At the bakery, that flour meets water, sugar, yeast, soybean oil, salt, and wheat gluten. A loaf baked at home stops at 4 or 5 ingredients. Wonder Bread Classic White lists roughly 20. The extra 15 are not flavors. They are architecture. Sodium stearoyl lactylate and calcium stearoyl lactylate strengthen the gluten network, so dough traps more gas during fermentation. Datum and monoglycerides create a finer and more uniform cell structure. No irregular holes, no dense patches. Enzymes and ascorbic acid slow starch retrogradation, the chemical process that makes bread go stale. Together, these conditioners keep the loaf soft on the shelf far longer than anything from a home oven could survive. A child can bite through the sandwich without the bread cracking apart. A mother can squeeze the bag and feel it give, then slowly spring back. Industrial mixers develop gluten in minutes. In a sponge and dough system, the sponge ferments up to 8 hours for flavor and strength. The final dough is divided by machine into identical portions, then placed into a proof box kept between 105 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit at 85% humidity. Over the next 50 to 65 minutes, the dough rises until each piece reaches full pan height. Then the tunnel oven, 400 to 420 degrees, 18 to 22 minutes. Internal temperature reaches 204 degrees. Starch gelatinizes, gluten sets. The crust forms thin and pale on purpose, soft enough that it will not resist a child's teeth. Loaves cool to roughly 100 degrees before slicing. Cut too early and the crumb tears. Industrial blade arrays slice each loaf into uniform pieces. Calcium propionate retards mold. The bag seals. Twist tie. 4 ingredients could make bread. It takes about 20 to make Wonder Bread. Here is where the story flips. By 1970, Wonder's campaign told parents that children grow to 90% of adult height between ages 1 and 12, and that Wonder Bread builds strong bodies 12 ways. On children's TV, the message went straight to kids. On August 24, 1971, the Federal Trade Commission filed a complaint against ITT Continental Baking. The charge: Wonder Bread's advertising falsely represented the product as extraordinary food for dramatic growth in children. The enrichment was identical to what the FDA required in any bread labeled enriched. The vitamins were not proprietary. The growth promise was. The FTC issued a cease and desist order. The concept of corrective advertising was developed in part through this case. The enrichment program did not begin in a bread factory. It began in a war. During World War II, the government found widespread nutritional deficiencies among civilians and recruits. In 1943, a war food order required flour sold interstate to be enriched. The order lifted in 46, but by 52 the FDA had set a permanent standard. Every enriched loaf met it. Wonder was compliant, but Wonder made a government mandate feel like a brand promise. Then something else happened. In 2002, the FTC returned. The marketer of Wonder Bread claimed bread with added calcium could improve children's brain function. The FTC said the claims lacked substantiation. First, it was the body. 30 years later, it was the brain. The product changed. The pattern did not. Wonder Bread is not really a story about false advertising. It is a story about what Americans learned to trust after the war. When food became industrial, the trust had to become industrial too. A white slice wrapped in plastic, stamped with vitamins, sold on television by a man in a cardigan talking to a puppet that was not just bread. That was the architecture of modern food trust. Softness meant safety. Packaging meant purity. Enriched meant progress. Wonder did not invent these feelings. It understood them before anyone else did. A mother in 1965, standing at a kitchen counter, she pulls 2 slices from a bag. The bread is soft. The label says enriched. She spreads peanut butter, presses the slices together, cuts the sandwich on the diagonal, and places it in a lunchbox. She is not thinking about niacin or riboflavin or FDA standards. She is thinking, I am feeding my child something good. Wonder Bread did not just sell bread. It sold the feeling that a factory could love your child as carefully as you do. The puppet is still on the screen. The child is still watching. The bread is still soft and white and wrapped in balloons. But the slogan sounds different now. That is the process. We reveal how things actually work, one story at a time. If there is something you would like us to explore next, let us know. Until then, trust the process.